everyone, and welcome into MVP Sports. I am your host for today, Soapy Muffins, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how you doing on this wonderful Memorial Day?
Doing excellent. Doing excellent. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I worked this morning, came home, and took a big fat nap. Well-deserved nap.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. I'm not even sure how many hours this week I've worked, but it's been too many.
Any number more than... fuck it. Any number's too many. Any number's too many. You gotta take a break for yourself every once in a while.
Yeah, if only my schedule allowed that. But
yeah,
we're not here to talk about my work schedule and hating my job. We're here to talk about some sports. But before we get into that, we're going to get into some housekeeping. If you guys want to join one of the best communities on the internet, you can join our Discord. Go into the description box below. There, the link should be posted. There you can talk about multiple different things like sports, sports, movies, TV shows, gaming, anything you want to talk about. You can support us at a monetary value at patreon.com/MVPvids. There you can select from 1 to 4 tiers. Bronze tier lets you get into voice chats. Silver tier lets you get into, voting for some boys. Gold tier allows you to get access to videos about 2 weeks early. And the platinum, almost a Patreon platinum, I don't know why I almost said that. But you get to be shouted out in a video like our wonderful sponsor, Pat Hill. We love you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Come check us out on YouTube, where we're already at. So I don't even have to do that. But if you want to, for anyone who is new and has not seen us before, on our YouTube channel, we do have past shows. We have Ricky's mock draft that's out. I know at some point Jake's going to be dropping his when the lottery is actually confirmed. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing one or if Dave's going to be doing one, but who knows? There may be a chance that happens.
Lots of things could happen.
Yeah. And as well, you can be a patron, or you can be a channel member. I don't know if we have them set up yet or not, but if we do, you can do that. It's basically the same thing as being a patron, so... Alright, yeah, we do. The voice in my head, which I'm pretty sure you guys could probably hear. It's really getting out of hand at this point. But you can be a patron, or you can be a channel member, which is the same thing as being a patron. But moving into the actual sports topics for today, Dave, we're going to run down some games that happened over the weekend. And we're starting off with one that busted a lot of our predictions. Jake is the only one who predicted this right. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Heat. I swept them, and I feel like an idiot after this. I'm not gonna lie.
Why would you feel like an idiot?
Well, because my reasoning behind it was I thought that Spo was basically gonna just coach circles around Bud, and it turns out Bud I think learned how to coach again. And
Bud learned that if his starters play more minutes, team better. Is a big leap for him. And I do want to give him a round of applause for that, because turns out playing better players more minutes gives you a better chance to win games. He put that together. It's maybe year 16 for Bud as a coach in the NBA, so he didn't get there quickly, but man, did he figure it out now. Watch out.
I mean, and just as well, I've made the comment before the show began, I can't wait for the offseason just so I get to hear all the tweets of, or all reports and tweets of Jimmy Butler is not happy with the Miami organization. Can't wait.
Get out of here with that shit.
It's gonna happen. We all know it's gonna happen.
I can't. Nope, we're not moving past it yet. You want to move past? I will not move past. This was a disappointing run for the Heat, but I think that once we saw Game 2 happen, it was very clear that the addition of Drew Holiday, this Bucks team, is a different kind of beast. Great additions with Bryn Forbes, Bobby P. I think that this Bucks team is the best chance to stop the Nets in the Eastern Conference, because I don't know who else stands a fucking chance outside of them.
And yeah, that is definitely going to be a very fun round 2.
Yeah,
and the Sixers get to pick on the scraps of whoever's left. That's gonna be a fun run of basketball. But moving into the next game, basically, it was a murder. It was Nuggets Trailblazers. The Blazers beat the Nuggets by 20, and even at that, Game didn't even have a good game.
Nope.
Game just only scored 10.
It was Norm.
Norm Powell, Coleman, Nurkic. Nurkic is like, you know what? I got to show my dad. I got to make my dad proud.
Yeah.
And he played good against his dad for once, and I'm proud of him.
When you play, the whole strategy for the Blazers needs to be, if Jokic is on the floor, Nurkic is on the floor. Very difficult idea. I think Cantor in 12 minutes on the floor was like a -30. Like it was just mind-blowingly terrible. So yeah, I think that's just coaching adjustment made mid-series. Again, we talk about these coaches and the difference they make. Another guy probably coaching for his career there with the Trailblazers. I think Stotts is probably real close to that fucking door. If they lose in the first round, I think he is out of a job.
Yeah, and that would be very interesting to see where they go from there. And just as well on top of it, I think this is the worst game Michael Porter has ever had in the playoffs so far.
Yep, you would be correct.
That's not so good. The guy who was supposed to make up for Jamal Murray's offense, kind of falling off a little bit is not the best.
He's very young, little inconsistencies happen. I mean, he can't shoot like 70% from the field every day. That's fair.
Yeah, true. And just as well of like other players not really scoring too much, like Austin Rivers, who had a really big game for them. Once again, kind of coming back down to earth again. Basically being Austin Rivers, having one really good game, then one game right afterwards.
Correct.
So moving into the second to last game on Saturday, 76ers and Wizards. We can just basically skim over this. This is going to be another sweep. And this was just sad.
It's exactly what it was supposed to be. No surprises, no shocks. Really just a disappointing performance out of the Wizards. But like, what do you expect to happen here? I mean, like, you have a bad coach, you have a bad roster. They made it to the playoffs on the back of two all NBA quality players in Russ and Bradley Beal, but like they're not even in the same fucking league as the 76ers. So it's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's it's just painful seeing that team almost lose by 30.
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes Scott Brooks lose his job, but he's probably got it secured because they made the playoff.
Unfortunately.
And then on to the last game from Saturday, Jazz beating the Grizzlies 121-111. This has surprisingly been a really good series. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of went into this one of just like Jazz gonna have an easy road, like not discrediting the Grizzlies, but more of like this Jazz team is just really good. Obviously when they took game one, I even kind of wrote it off as just like I mean, they beat them without their best player. It is what it is. And obviously, since Donovan Mitchell's come back, they've definitely turned that series around.
Best player, because I think that Rudy Gobert is the best player on the Utah Jazz, but I'll take that. Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. But as well from that, we have definitely seen an emergence of a absolute great backcourt. Like, that backcourt of John Dillon is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, Jalen Brooks is gritty. He will get after it. He is living rent-free right now in the Utah Jazz heads. I fucking love this series. Honestly, like, if we have... Look, I know it's going to be probably over in 5, but I want it to be 7 just to see the games, because these are such close games, and every game of playoff Ja is spectacular, and I just want more of it. So I'm loving this series. I think it's one of the best out there, and I'm glad that it's so competitive.
Yeah, and just, it's always nice to see, a young athletic team, just a team as well with a lot of potential, just showing they can hang with the big dogs a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Not making it insanely competitive, like 2 or 3 games, 2 or 3 points, but I mean...
It got close. It got close before the final 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Turned into a free throw kind of whatever situation, but yeah. It was a very competitive game in the second half. I like that.
Yeah. So, moving into the games from Sunday, we had Hawks-Knicks. I feel really stupid about saying that this was going to be like a super competitive series, because it turns out Tibbs cannot coach against an offensive team, apparently. Who knows?
He can't. It's not he can't coach against them. It's that Julius Randle is choking. His best player all season is choking during the playoffs, and that is killing him. Barrett finally had a bounce-back offensive game, but the best player on this team is Derrick Rose. And the second most consistent player is goddamn Taj Gibson. You have a problem in 2021 when Taj and Derrick are your top 2 guys on this team. So obviously this is not a great situation for the Knicks. They were hoping that the young guns would be leading this team instead of having to rely so heavily on Derrick at this point in his career. But you know what? It's still fun. I'll be honest. I'm still watching this series. I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, and just as well on top of that, I actually got a surprising performance from Toppin. Toppin doesn't look like Kevin Knox 2.0.
That's fair. That's fair. Frank got 3 whole minutes, so I mean, you got to feel okay about that. You know,
I mean,
Tibbs does hate his roster a lot, but Frank 3 minutes. I mean, that boy is getting re-signed to a max.
Yeah, and yeah, that's. I just find it funny. He got the same amount of minutes as Knox. So
the
guy we were like, man, Tibbs is gonna love Frank, defensive-minded guy, and
he's gonna get the most out of him. Yeah.
And then it turns out that's not the case.
On the rather Hawk not side, play him at all.
Yeah, and on the Hawk side, Gallo's back. I've also officially realized you can't get like a great game out of Bogdan and Gallo at the same time. Like, it's just...
This was a really good game out of game. What do you mean? Like, Bogdan had a fantastic game. It just doesn't show from a scoring standpoint. When he was on the court, this team is so fucking good. He knows how to run the flow of the game and control the offense, and he plays quality defense. Like, Bogdanovich is massive for this Hawks team, and I don't think they stand a fucking chance without him. So, I think that, from a shooting standpoint, he didn't have a killer's night, out there. Didn't take over the game, but he did all the little things right. And I mean, he's still respectable, 12, 8, and 6 with 2 steals on the night. Like, that's very fucking legitimate.
Yeah, so then
let's not talk about shooting splits.
Yeah, so then moving on to the next game, it was Suns-Lakers, and we did have a very sad news pop up during the game, was that Anthony Davis got hurt.
Is it sad?
I mean...
Is it predictable?
Yeah. But, it's, you do hate to see players go down, especially with a team that's like the Lakers. That
never wish injuries. I get you.
Yeah, but basically the Suns, managed to squeak this one out in that. And, Ayton had another really good game. Devin Booker had a pretty good game. Chris Paul, it looks like he's starting to get back to what his form was before.
Yeah,
he's not looking like a shoulder-hurting Paul anymore. He kind of looks, getting back to pre-shoulder pain. Campaign stuff running the bench. We love to see it.
Dude, he's pulling fucking crossovers on LeBron James. It is bizarre to watch.
And, on the Lakers side, Marcus Gasol got minutes. That's always good. Like, I don't really have anything to praise on this Lakers team besides the fact that it's like, we're still getting good performances out of LeBron, but essentially
LeBron needs to do more. That's just that's where it is. Unfortunately for the Lakers, Anthony Davis, like you said, will probably be out Game 5 with a groin strain. LeBron James asked about carrying this team without Anthony Davis, and something about these shoulders were built to carry or some bullshit. Typical LeBron shenanigans. This is potentially one of the worst teams LeBron's had to play with without Anthony Davis out there. So we'll see how far he can go. I kind of am rooting for the Suns to knock him out round 1. I think this would be incredible. If Chris Paul, another game healthier, that is a scary Suns team.
Oh, yeah. And moving on to the next one, it's another murder.
Not as scary as this team.
Yeah. Basically, I did make the joke of once basically the Nets won 2 games, I'm like, can we just call this series already?
And with that Ralph Wiggum stop, he's already dead.
Yeah. Basically, just so everyone knows, let me do the math real quick to see how much these guys score together. Basically, just in case you guys don't know, I'm pretty sure the Nets' big 3 scored 100 points combined.
Sounds all right.
Yeah, so let's see here.
KD had 42.
23. Yeah, they scored 104 points just with those 3 alone.
Yeah.
And I just gotta say, how the fuck are you supposed to stop that?
On insane efficiency, too. You can't just... It was incredible efficiency. Like, they just don't fucking miss. You have 3 top 15 players in the NBA on the same team. I'm sorry. It's not going to be close. Congratulations, Celtics. You won your 1 game. Jason Tatum, you're playing fucking balls out. I love it. But at the end of the day, it's just Nets are going to move on into the Brooklyn Milwaukee series, which hopefully will be the best series out of these we see all year.
Oh yeah, and and just as well, we get to celebrate. Kemba Walker wasn't in the starting lineup.
Yeah, hey, he dead.
And shout out to Romeo though for not
exists?
playing. Yeah, he wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst.
I'm happy that he's getting minutes in the playoffs. I wish he'd gotten minutes earlier in his career. Obviously, different shit was going on, but yeah, no, I'm happy to see Romeo out there playing. I think he has a legitimate upside still. It's almost like a refresher to be like, oh yeah, I remember why that kid was good in college and why he was taken where he was. But it's just been so long. So these are legit minutes for him. I'm excited for that. Peyton Pritchard's looked okay in the series as well. Like, it's just they're outmatched. They're hilariously outmatched. Celtics have a lot of changes they need to make in the offseason. So we'll see what this Nets super team is going to do to the makeup of the Eastern Conference, because I think a lot of teams are going to have to take a reality check come this offseason.
Oh, yeah. And moving into the last game from Sunday, it was Clippers-Mavericks. And I just have to say one thing. And this is just, why is Luka playing a shit ton of minutes when he's clearly hurt?
Because Kristaps Porzingis is a bitch.
Yeah, it's just, I look at it and it's just I get you want to stay competitive. Obviously, you're the 5th seed. This is the highest you've been.
Yep.
God only knows how long. But, you really want to run the risk of potentially having permanent damage done to your franchise player? I get, he probably wants to play. I guarantee Luka's sitting there being like, no, fucking play me. But there's at times you have to sit him down and be like, no, listen, if you're having shoulder problems and it's not even just physical muscle pain, it's nerve pain. This is just no. You sit the hell down. And we're taking L in this series. We have to at this point. And once again, Luka may not like that. Mm-hmm. That's something that a owner has to tell him, a coach has to tell him, and essentially just be like, fuck it, just if people get pissed that Luka's sitting, just be like, no, you have to take it with the grain of salt of we're not trying to ruin someone's career. We are willing to have it to be all right, sit for this. If you start feeling better and you're cleared by doctors that they're not noticing you acting strange, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's unfortunate that Dallas's run is so dependent on 2 players performing at a high rate, and Luka's obviously not 100% right now. KP cannot do what they had hoped he would be. I mean, regular season wise, for the games he was there, he played okay. But postseason KP, he is not gonna elevate. He doesn't have that extra gear right now. So, when Tim Hardaway Jr. is not shooting 80% from 3, and just being a straight up flamethrower, team's not gonna be competitive. So this series has shifted back to LA, and with the concerns about the injury with Luka, with the questions around his game, it's hard to see this Mavericks team move forward this year. I think I'm on that train of, okay, Clippers have woken up. They know what they have to do. And with Luka's situation, it is what it is.
Yeah, and just as well on top of it, a kind of a Discord joke of I was having a conversation with Ricky yesterday, and we were watching the Mavericks game, and I even said, because one of the people in the Discord, I don't know how to say their actual name, but I basically just call him Sap. Oh. And they were talking about, Paul George being Pandemic P, and I'm like, if Kristaps scores under 10 points again, they'd be like, Porzingis is the real Pandemic P. Porzingis barely dodged it.
That's bad.
So
look, KP, I don't know what I expected him to be on this Mavericks team. I thought he was going to be a legit 25-12 guy. He's not. He's just not. Good luck with Lowry Markkanen this season. That's where I'm at with the Mavericks. Best of luck.
I mean, hey, you basically get Porzingis 2.0.
They get a better offensive weapon out there. I mean, I love the finisher, but fuck, man, it seems like that's what they're destined for,
Yeah. I mean, and also the fact that Boban's seeing minutes now, and that's what we love to see.
That's when you know the series is over. When Green got minutes, when Boban played legit minutes, I was like, oh no, this is. But Josh
Boban
Green
was
is someone
cooking.
who, dude, Josh Green during the entire season, we're talking about a top 20 pick. I think he averaged 2 minutes a game. And like he got fucking minutes this game. I was like, yeah, fucking throw in whoever we got on the bench. Just put him out there. Don't give a fuck. Like it's just so over. It felt bad. Like I felt bad watching this game. And I'm with you. I think that KP and Luka are just in a situation where like you have to tell Luka, you're done. Lock it up. Like minutes restriction. If you have a legit injury, you're just done. And KP like your call. I'm not even forcing you to play anymore at this point.
Yeah. Oh, then moving into just previewing tonight's games. We already have a game going on right now.
Very competitive game.
I mean, it's surprisingly closer than I thought it would be.
Series is over.
I mean, basically. But, I mean, hey, would you look at that? We're getting pop-off games from people who aren't the stars, Dave. Bertans and Robin Lopez are popping off. This is the most Wizards game I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. Robin Lopez is schooling Joel Embiid. Enjoy that, Jake.
And it's it is a time to be alive to see Robin Lopez schooling a young guy. And just as the last game of the night, Jazz Grizzlies. Basically, I think we're both in agreement this is going to be the Jazz winning, but I don't think it's going to be an absolute blowout. I think it's going to be within 10 at least.
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see as the game goes on. I don't think it's be that close.
Yeah.
But Russ has never been swept. True. So there is that like hold on to hope because you think that he'll go Westbrook mode.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? There is a chance. And just with the Jazz Grizzlies, I think we're in agreement here. Jazz are going to win. Then,
I mean, they're competitive, but yeah, I think that the Jazz do have firepower. They've got just such a great deep team. I'm just excited to watch Grizzlies play. I hope that Brandon Clark sees a couple minutes. He's looked fucking dreadful. I know he's coming off of minor nagging injuries, but he's really just not been great this year. A lot of people saying regression on a shot. I watched him play, and I wanted to stab myself in my eyes with an ice pick. His jump shot, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. It's like it's out of sync. His jump, and then it's like a shot put like halfway through his jump. It's just the upper body and the lower body don't know what the other is doing. I don't know what happened to you, Brandon Clark. I want you to come back. Please go back to normal because you are not there right now.
Oh yeah, dude, that jump shot's ugly. Like people
Dude,
talk about Tyrese Halliburton.
I don't know what the fuck
bad.
happened to it. I don't know if you watched the game this weekend, but it literally was the most out of sync. Like it looked like my video, like just that upper bottom, like upper lower screen skipped a beat, and it was like, it was like, what just happened?
Yeah, they definitely need to figure out what is going on with that jump shot. They need to retweak that thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, let's see if we get another Ja 40-point game tonight. It's basically from Mike Conley's father.
I love that kid.
So, moving into basically the namesake of the show, we are now moving into the Grizzlies draft segment, which, Dave, sadly, we can't slap the wall. We're not in the situation to slap the wall.
No, we're not.
They are drafting at pick 17. Obviously, we had a conversation kind of before the show, kind of talking about it briefly. And this is just kind of like just a shit show take that halfway through the season we had like the news kind of break of ignore my dog. My dog's just gonna keep barking because someone closed the door outside. But basically, we heard that the Grizzlies may not be sold on Jaren Jackson Jr. as a player. I may as well ask: is there a chance that they trade up and use Jaren Jackson Jr. as bait to get a higher pick?
There's no shot. There is no shot they're getting rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. I know he's coming off an injury. I know he hasn't been super impressive because of all the time he's missed, but I think he truly is still trying to figure out how to move in his body. A lot of people kind of look at his numbers and go like, he didn't really get better, his play style is this, and like, I understand what the numbers say, but when you watch him on the court, like, he needs to balance out his body. First off, like his lower body, build the legs, get the tree trunks, get steady, understand that you're like a 7-footer, and learn to use your body like a 7-footer. he is still so hesitant to use his body, use his muscle, and bang in the post with guys. So I think as in the next couple of years, as he continues to transform his body and learn to play with it, he'll get much better at rebounding. Positioning on this team is always going to be interesting because of him being playing out by the 3-point line, just for spacing. If JV's off the floor, though, that creates those situations where you need him grabbing boards and banging. He's just not thrived in that role. So I think it's just a matter of time with him. I would not move on from him. I think he is special. I really do think that worst case scenario, he is, a third best player on a championship caliber team. Like, that's his top end. He is absolutely special as far as someone with his size, his speed, and his shot. I think that those three things together make him like, I'm not moving on from that for like a top 6 pick, top 5 pick. Like, I don't think you get 4. That's the problem. Is he was drafted 4. I don't think you could package to get up into the top 4 of this year with him to try to get that true number 2, perhaps, for John Morant. If you wanted a Cade, if you wanted, a JG4, I just don't think that those 4 teams at the top of the draft would be willing to move out of that situation for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Just thought I'd throw that out there because obviously, this team is still young enough. Like, this core, it's not perfectly set in stone. There is a solidified, like, Ja is not going anywhere. But, pieces can still be moved. Just thought I'd propose that because maybe they were a team that would want to move up in the draft.
That's fair.
But going to where they're at in the draft at 17, this kind of falls into the interesting spot because by this point, they're starting to get into that portion of where you're starting to get just into the solid players, the guys who are going to step in and just be instant impact guys. Like, you're not really having, I forgot how to explain it. At this point, essentially, you're getting the specialist range. Like, you're starting to enter there. Sure. And I think I kind of just want to see who you would want them to take in this, because I have an idea of who I'd want them to. But I just, kind of want to see what your opinion on it is.
Yeah, I think the name I've seen floated around that spot and for this team is Zaire Williams. It's a name that has kind of risen a little bit as of late. I think a lot of people fell off on him because it was a disappointing year in college, but at the same time, a lot of people were just kind of like, yeah, but did anything change about him as a prospect from high school? Like, his body is still NBA ready. He seems like a smart player. Maybe it was just wrong fit, wrong system, and he didn't get to shine because of the situation with COVID going on. His play time, again, you got to remember what it was like over there in the Pac-12 to play basketball. So, like, definitely not ideal to thrive as a season with crazy stats. You just weren't getting the minutes in practice. You weren't getting that time to prep. All that shit went wrong. So I think he's kind of getting like an asterisk sort of pass. And if he's there, if he falls to them at 17, absolutely take a shot on him. He's got a crazy good upside as far as being a two-way wing in the NBA. And I think that's a question a lot of people are asking is, the Grizzlies in the past have been known for taking their shots on these established guys, these upperclassmen who are I want to say like a known, you have a known commodity as far as like an NBA level skill. They've obviously struck gold with Desmond Bane. They got a legit shooter day one in the NBA with Desmond Bane. He is phenomenal. Good handles, decent defense, even though he's got T-Rex arms out there. Brandon Clark, similar situation. Obviously, questions around his shot this year, but like able to affect the game year one, even though he's an upperclassman. I think that's the thing is, are they going to go the similar route, or would they take a shot at a high upside underclassman like Zaire, where it's like, we should swing for the fences. We need to find the true number 3 for this situation, because when you look at that roster, it's John Morant, it's Jaren Jackson Jr., and then a lot of people want to point at Dillon Brooks, and I'm not sold, even though this is a phenomenal series for Dillon Brooks. I think they need a true wing star. I think they need to go get somebody who has that incredible upside. So I'm on the boat of, I know it's not your, recent history, but I would like you to take a shot at someone like Zaire if you were available, Yeah,
and I fall into a similar belief. Like, I do think that is something they should do. I think they continue to kind of follow the path. Because I actually think this could be a team that trades down.
Oh, so you're agreeing with chat right now. Art was
Yeah.
in chat talking about that.
Yeah. I don't think where I would have them trade down to Dewar would still be there. Because I would have them trade down to 23-24. Basically, try to see if you can get both of those picks from the Rockets. Basically, be like, hey, do you guys want to move up? Like, obviously, you guys are a rebuilding team. You need this. So I would try to move down with them. See, like, I don't know exactly what that package would look like. But I do think they could be a team who goes for a Trey Murphy III. And I think as well, I think they could draft another center. I think it's not like that I'm not sold on JV. Like, I think Valanciunas has been really good for them.
Yeah, but he will be entering the final year of his contract. We expect him to get extended out, but it's not locked in. You do have Tillman, who's played well. Jonte Porter's too much of an unknown. He doesn't have the time on the court at the NBA level yet to say, like, yeah, he's our four of the future, like, he's our backup four. So, like, if you still have questions there, I guess it's just like, I don't know. I feel like JV, it's almost like a shrug. Yeah, of course they're going to re-sign him probably, right? Like, what else would they do, you know?
Yeah, but I think they could be a team that trades down for like Trey Murphy III, and I'm going to say Nimias Queta or Queta. I think that's how you say his name. Queta, close enough.
Yep.
Yeah, basically just kind of solidifying, like not bringing back the grit and grind because that's gone.
Yeah, that's dead.
But just getting that like defensive stalwart center is basically just like I'm the brick shithouse in the paint, have fun type of player.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I trust in the front office too much for, like, I feel like the 4-pack they've got with JJJ, Jonte Porter, Tillman, and Valanciunas, maybe I'm too comfortable with them. Like, I feel like that's like the right, like, you got Valanciunas as the veteran in there, and then you got 3 younger guys who all can kind of be tweener, like 4-5s. Tillman, Porter, and Jaren Jackson Jr. can all space the floor. They can also all play center at times. For me, I'm just all about, like, look, if Kyle Anderson is our starting wing, like, we need to get better at the wing. And that's no disrespect to Kyle Anderson. He's having a great season. But you need to get better than Kyle Anderson at the wing if you want to win a championship, right? I am a hard target in the wing. I think the Trey Murphy Jr. thing, like, absolutely, if you get moved back into a late 1 or early 2, absolutely, he's a damn fine pickup. But just a 3-and-D plug-and-play kind of kid. I would have no problem with that. I absolutely don't disagree. But if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm looking to change things up. I want that high swing. Give me a wing who has just uber potential. That's why they took a shot at Justice Winslow. They wanted a do-it-all wing, and that would almost make me think that obviously he's got a club option. I don't think they take that. I think that that's a situation where it's just not happening. He did not do enough to impress. I know he's coming off a terrible injury, but, like, I'm good without that. I'm not paying him $13 million to be subpar on my team. If like Wagner fell, would you think that would be a good fit for him on this team?
Oh yeah, I think if Wagner falls to 17, I think he literally fits like a glove in like every team in the NBA. And I think he basically would massively thrive. Especially
that's the easy layup there. Yeah.
I mean, basically, I feel like Wagner's that, like, obviously don't take him too high because, like, we kind of, I don't want to say know what he's gonna be. It's like he could develop a lot more than we're all.
He could be Joe Ingles.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what he's gonna be. He's gonna be like a weird hybrid of like Joe Ingles and like Harrison Barnes. So
that's pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking good though.
Yeah. So basically, anywhere he goes, that's essentially what he's gonna fill that role in. I'm just trying to think of like other young players as well. Like,
well, it's a question of like, okay, if they're gonna draft somebody older, like if Corey Kispert fell, would they take Corey Kispert here? Yeah, he can hit threes at an NBA level. The spacing is ideal for John Morant. I could see him taking him. I wouldn't love it though. I'm trying to think of other guys who are mocked like top 14, but could fall down in the range because teams like different guys better. What if here's a faller? Moses Moody has been a name that I've seen falling a lot. If Moody fell, would you be interested in him, or would you think that that's maybe too close to what Dylan Brooks is already on this team?
See, I think that's an interesting one, and it's mostly because like I still personally think Moody is like a top 10. Or at least I think I still have him in my top 10. So I mean, obviously, me as like having that bias, like yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Okay.
But I mean, because as well, I don't know if Brooks is solidified on this team. Because like I said earlier, like I think Ja's the only piece that's like an absolute like we are not moving on from him at all.
Yeah.
Like you call about him, we're hanging up the phone.
Yeah.
So I think that would be at that point essentially, you can have multiple of the same type of player. Obviously,
yeah. I mean,
I think that wouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
I mean, just kind of, and then this is a name I'm not high on this person at all. I don't want to say at all. Like I see why people are high on him. I just think people have him going too high. Would they be a team that takes a chance on Garuba?
It's like he's the opposite of Brandon Clark in some aspects, that he is the defensive just savant. 6'9" guy with we're hoping 7'1" wingspan. We're waiting for that measure in. We'll see if he gets that 7'1" wingspan in. He is pretty much set to go like either late lottery or pre-20. So it's the right range for him. Offensively, he is challenged, to put it nicely. His shot is inconsistent, if you could call it a shot. But he's so young and he's played against grown-ass men his whole life. So that's one of those situations where like I'm betting on the fact that if he can defend them, defense translates day one into the NBA. So I expect really good things out of him. I think that would be interesting, but I would be concerned about the pairing and the floor spacing. I think that's something that as you build a team around Ja Morant, you always need to consider the floor spacing. And they've done a really good job around that. The additions of Grayson Allen, D'Anthony Melton adding that 3-point shot out there. They're always trying to keep that opening for Ja to attack, draw in the defense, and then kick or score, depending on the situation. So, like, I think Usman creates a situation where that might not be ideal, which I guess at 17, if you got a guy who could play some minutes with the starters, some minutes with the backups, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, honestly, if you hit at 17, that's still pretty good regardless of the situation. So, sure, I think that would be an interesting one. I think some people have him mocked really highly. Some people are in the middle on him. I'm not 100% sold on the fit to the Memphis system, though.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to throw the name out there because I know some people are very high on him.
Yeah.
Like, I was having this conversation while, in the intermission with Ricky, and I was like, I don't see why some people have him mocked, like, top 10.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, yeah, he's a phenomenal defender and could arguably be the best defender in this draft. But at the same time, it's like, what else does he do? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a hater.
If you say that he is the 6'9" version of Rudy Gobert, would that make you feel better? I mean,
not really. He's
like 18, but he's got like that kind of upside. I think that's pretty fucking good. Like, that's probably good enough to put you on the court, I'm not super worried. He can defend 1 through 5. Like, I get it. The offensive skill set's not there, but like having all NBA level defense, like really early in your career, is kind of incredible. So it's a situation where I would probably take a shot at him pre-20, but I think you have to be in the right system. I just don't know that that's with Ja Morant on the court. I think that like this year's draft feels like there's just so many guards and not enough wings. And I feel like this is a team that's so desperate for a wing. Like, the Trey Murphy pick makes sense. The idea to trade back makes so much sense. So if they do get into a situation where that comes up, absolutely jump on it. But I'm really struggling. Like, you take BPA at 17. If it's not Zaire Williams at the wing, who's your next BPA wing up? You're reaching down to what? Greg Brown and maybe Josh Christopher if you see him growing a little more. Otherwise, it's Trey Murphy. So, like, I don't know. It's a weird year for wings because I think like Greg Brown doesn't really bring you floor spacing that you absolutely need. But same time, like he is a fucking project who has super high upside. Same thing, different situation, but similar upside hopes as Williams. So I think that I'm too narrowed in on the wing maybe personally, but I think they have to go there. Like maybe I hate myself for saying this. Maybe they take a look at BJ Boston, someone who I have been like anti BJ Boston since like day 7 of the college year, and like he just didn't seem to have it. He got better over the year. Obviously, there was a tragedy that happened this offseason, and no one knows how he will react and come back from that. But young kid with an interesting frame, high upside as always, but unproven in college. Would this be a team who would be interested in taking a shot at a talent like his?
Yeah,
maybe not 17, but if they traded back.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be a team that would do that. I think that would be more of a team that
like
would
an
be
OKC move.
Back. Yeah, like essentially like if we miss on the pick, whatever, we'll tank again next year.
Well, I'm just mean like that. I'm talking like late 1, early 2, and like as far as those picks go, like obviously you mentioned the Rockets double pick 23-24 would be pretty fantastic if they could pull the strings for that. But even if they ended up with like I'm trying to see one of these teams who has multiple picks, or at least a pick in the second. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough because like the Nets technically have a 1 and a 2. So if you got 27, 44, and a future pick, like something like that, like would that be enough? 27, 44, and a future top 20 protection? Probably, but the Nets don't even have like how far out are we talking now on that protection? Like 2030? Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
So like it's hard to pick the right spot there, but if they do move back just a little bit, like it does kind of open the door a bit for other names.
Yeah, and I do want to actually pose a question that was posted in YouTube chat. It was by Art, and he asked, basically, could you guys see us trading Beal, or trading for Beal? Basically, he kind of puts like an idea out there. If Jaren deal would feature Triple J, Melton, filler, and picks, and draft Garuba. I think if you draft Garuba, I think at that point you are looking to move on from Triple J because I think they kind of fill a similar role to each other. I don't know if you guys would be able to pull it off because I think you'd have to give up that pick. I don't think you'd be able to keep this year's pick, and as well, I don't know if Triple J and Melton alone are enough to get you Beal.
Triple J, yeah, Beal's gonna go for at least 3 picks, same as James Harden, and then the question is like, what caliber of players along with that to match salaries? I don't know. That's tough. That's very tough to try to put the idea together. Like Jaren Melton, filler, and picks could work out. I just don't. I feel like if Beal's going anywhere, and don't get me wrong, I think Beal and Ja as a backcourt would be fucking amazing. But it doesn't solve. Like it's not what the Wizards would do. Is the problem? Like they've seen the offers out there for Beal, and they haven't moved him yet. Unless something drastic changes, I just don't see them moving him to a team like the Grizzlies. I think if they're going to move him, it'll be for a top pick in the draft and not someone like Jaren, who I agree, former top pick, absolutely deserving of it, but there are still questions around his game. He's not a breakout star quite yet. So I think that's just it would be a little unrealistic unless you're giving them like 4 unprotected ones, Jaren, Melton, and whatever. Like that's just, it's so much to have to give up. you'd have to overpay hilariously just to get him, and then I think you put yourself in a situation where you might not be quite competing like you should be.
Yeah, and obviously, just with that, I don't think they'd be able to pull it off, especially because of the fact that Wizards have been so hesitant to move Beal, like you had said. And also the fact that Beal has made it known. Granted, we don't know how much this is.
He says the right
Beal
thing.
we don't know how much this is Beal saying the right thing, or if he actually does want to stay here his whole career. But yeah, and then just kind of, if they do trade back, I've randomly thought of a name. I don't know if they would take this player because this guy's all over people's boards. Yep. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. I don't know if he'd be a person that, with a late first, they take. Like, obviously, I know Jake's really high on him. I know some people
I think he's... I agree that some people are higher on him. I'm not someone who would put him in my first round. I don't think he's one of the best 30 players in the draft. He's too similar to what Brennan Clark was. I can't take another guy who can't shoot threes and is a project. Even though he could score fairly well from the inside, I would not take a chance on him. No. Fuck no. I think this is a team that not looking for that right now. I would love to see them, like, Jonte Porter is their, like, hey, we've got a big who can shoot threes, who's an upside guy because of his family's cursed fucking genetics. I think that they should 100% go for the Trey Murphy. I think that if they can move back a couple spots to that Rockets situation, yeah, go ahead and, Duarte and Murphy would be great. If you get to a point where you got a second rounder, they got pick 51. Again, guys, I love round 51. I will bring them up for the umpteenth time and just be like, well, if you're looking for a wing, Isaiah Livers is there. He's a really fucking good shooter, really good defender, probably overlooked because he's a fifth-year senior. He's a perfect fit. He's an absolutely perfect fit. Just push him in there. Perfect fit for this team. And again, it fits the idea that, hey, we're going to go ahead and get, a guaranteed guy here who can deliver. But then at the same time going, but I want them to take a shot on someone. I really, really want them to take a shot on someone in this draft. Like, this is, I'm not saying it's necessary for them to win a championship, but I'm saying, like, if they don't do it now, when? Like, your timeline lines up. You have John Morant, who in his second year is just delivering. And you have Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously some slight injuries, but, like, still, he has the potential there. Like, you need to get that core together in an age group. And I think that they are missing that third piece, and they need to go get an electric wing. And I think they have to do whatever it takes. The problem in my mind, and I'm gonna probably get crucified for this, I want them to trade up for someone like a Jalen Johnson. I think he is toxic, potentially. I think he is, like, absolutely, like, for some teams, do not fucking draft him. But I think for a team like the Grizzlies, who have a great culture, a great core, great developmental history right now, for a couple of years in a row, they've just been doing great with these younger prospects. I think Jalen Johnson would thrive with this team. I want them to go up to, like, 8, 9, somewhere in that area and get him, because I think he is the ideal fit for this Grizzlies team.
Yeah, and I actually like that idea as well. Granted, on mine, I actually have Jalen Johnson going in the top 6.
Wow.
Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not high in Kuminga, and it's not like, I'm not saying, like, oh, Kuminga's a bum. I'm not doing any of that. Like, I think it's just me. And obviously, like, I did my own mock, and the order I got, I was literally sitting there and I'm like, I don't think any of these teams would take Kuminga. It's like, the only one that I was like, okay, they may take them is, like, the Thunder, but even at that, I was like, would the Thunder take? Like, obviously, Kuminga has potential to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, it's just, I'm not high on him. So, but yeah, like, I think them trading him for Jalen Johnson, I think he literally fits what that team needs. Obviously, there is character questions, which who knows if that's just his problems he had with Coach K. Who knows if that's just
also in AAU, also in high school. Who knows? Maybe he's just it's an immaturity thing. He's got to work through it now.
Yeah. Because, I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, there's another guy we kind of know he had character issues when he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And we're kind of seeing people kicking themselves for it. Obviously, I know Kai in the Discord has talked about, like, Cavs fans are just kind of over it at this point. They're like, okay, like, yeah, it sucks that we got rid of him because he's a really good player, but at the same time, like, it takes a while to grow out of that immaturity.
It
But
can.
yeah,
but I think that if you're going to take a shot on a guy with that upside and those intangibles, Jalen Johnson is the kid you're doing it with. Outside of the top 4 in this draft, I think he has the scariest upside because it's like you were a ball handling point guard up until the end of your high school career. You still have a little bit of those tendencies. You're 6'9" now, though, with a grown ass man's body. I can't wait to see what you can do come the NBA. Confidence is not an issue. We just need to fix the small things around his game and see how he can do. I know in college, small sample size, the pick and roll game running with him as a primary ball handler wasn't really great. Not what you want to see out of him early on. So we'll see what happens at the NBA level with some better structure and some better guys around him. But I think he's probably, if I'm trading up in, I think the top 4 is off limits in almost every scenario this year. I think if they're going outside of that top 4, I think Jalen Johnson's the guy who you would trade up for in this class if you were Memphis.
Yeah, and just a kind of a name that I don't think he'd be there at their pick at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think this player is going to go a lot higher than, like, I know Tankathon has him going in the second round, but I think he goes a lot higher. Is like Nashana Highland. If they had a chance at Highland at 51, or not,
sure,
yeah, at 51, I'd fucking hammer that home as the steal of the draft. Because I honestly think, and I shit you not, I stand by it. If Highland actually played in the tournament, I guarantee people would, like, almost everyone would have him in the first round.
I think that the hype that Johnny Juzang got would have gone to him. Yeah, I agree. I think that that's the same jump that Johnny got to go from somewhere in the like 110 to 130 range to being all the way into the mid-second round. Highland probably would have been picked 20, probably right behind someone like Butler.
Yeah. So I think that's if he's there for him, like I said, I don't think he's going to be there. I'm just kind of looking at people who are lower.
I mean, if we're talking second round flyers, Rocco, not Rokas, Rocco.
Like, yeah, I mean,
Rocco Perkins, someone who is potentially dangerous. He's I can sort of do it all wing. Kind of like a baby giraffe out there, like when they're first born and they don't quite understand how those long fucking legs work. Like that's sort of where he's at. He's, baby Giannis style out there. Doesn't quite know what to do with his body at all times, but he does seem to have like the core abilities of like, I can pass, I can shoot, I can slash, I can defend, and I've got a really, really large wingspan, decent build. Like he's a 6'9" wing who could be, a little bit of ball handling capabilities. He could be nothing, but he could be really fucking good. Like I would see where he's falling on a lot of people's minds. Like, is this a kid who's coming over right away? Is he someone who's a stash? There's a lot of questions to answer there, but I think that he could be worth a flyer.
And I mean, unless you got anything else to say about this, I think that's really it.
Yep. But I think Art kind of hit it out the gates. It was the idea of like, are they going for the Memphis Grizzlies strategy of take the fucking proven guys early on in the draft? We'll take a flyer in the second or undrafted. That's how they got Melton. That's how they got Jonte. They're very smart about the draft strategy. Take the best player that falls. Doesn't matter how old they are. It makes perfect sense to me. But I feel like this is the time you got to take a swing. You got to just big dick swing. Screw the fucking situation. Take the highest upside player available at 17, if not trading up for that Jalen Johnson pick.
All right. So yeah, that is going to end today's show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to run through housekeeping just one more quick time. If you'd like to join the Discord, you can go to the description. There you'll have the link. There you can come in and talk about basketball, football, soccer, hockey, all that fun, wonderful things. I mean, there's been conversation in the hockey chat like once.
It exists.
I think we used the soccer chat, by the way, like one time, and I think that was literally we just used it as a joke. So, I mean, hey, if you're into some
Bring
football,
it. Bring the conversation. Bring the conversations. We got a couple people who gamble heavily on soccer, so why not?
Yeah, there could be some good conversations happening. If you want to support us at a monetary value, go to patreon.com/MVPvids. You can support us at the 4 different tiers. Check us out on YouTube. We're already here, but just in case you don't know what content we have on this channel, we have past shows that we've done, mock drafts. If you go back in the past, you can even react to some of the older mock drafts and kind of realize, wow, there's some goofy picks. Or you can even go back far enough.
There's some people who know what they're talking about.
Good picks, some bad picks, and as well as we learned when we started going through the old ones, you may find sometimes of Ricky's funny pronunciations of names. Of when he did not know how to say Spencer Dinwiddie's name and called him Spencer Dinwiddle.
Yep. He'll just add letters. That's Ricky.
Yeah.
Part of the charm.
Yeah, we love you, Ricky. But that's the end of the show, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.
WPN.